Can you see my screen, the Mangalacharana script?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshuru Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vande Aham Shri Guruhu Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deena Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripri Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we are on chapter 16. Okay. Let me just put it up. Yeah. So today this is chapter 16. This chapter is titled Daiva Asura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga. That means the distinction between the divine and the demonic natures that exist in the material plane, which are all the influence, which are all under the which are basically manifestation from the three gunas in the Prakriti, which we saw yesterday: the Sattva guna, the Rajoguna, and the Tamaguna. Okay, and it's really beautifully explained in this chapter, and you will see it. In fact, the verses are so self-explanatory, and it really make you really think. And I think that kind of thinking is what makes our scriptures very beautiful, and because it helps, or it makes each one of us look inwards by giving us that knowledge and that explanation for for the various concepts that are shared in our scriptures. So our scriptures in a way are very simple, and they are simple because they appeal to all kinds of intellect. It's not necessary that one needs to be of a high IQ. What you need is actually DQ. The devotional quotient is what is important. Our scriptures are not about IQ in a person. We normally think that one must be a great scholar to understand these scriptures. But what you need is that element of devotional quotient. Okay. Now, what does this chapter contain? This chapter can be broadly divided into 4 parts. The first part is the narration on all the divine qualities, or the Daiva Sampada. Then the next 10, imagine, there are only 3 verses on the divine qualities, and there are 20 verses, there are 5 verses on the demonic qualities. And then there is a detail in 16.10 to 16.20 on the activities of such people with such demonic qualities. And then the Lord explains what is it that one must engage in to kind of give up those demonic tendencies. It's a beautiful one. So the divine qualities are only 3 verses. And then he goes at length to explain all about the demonic qualities and also the things that such people with negative energies indulge in. And he also helps to kind of address that part about how can one transcend or overcome these negative energies. Okay. So imagine this has 24 verses, of which 21 verses goes into depth about the negative energies or the negative qualities that lead to entanglements or that lead to all the miseries that one inflicts upon oneself. See, we are inflicting all kinds of things on ourselves, but we often blame the outside forces to be inflicting those miseries on us. Okay, so it kind of helps you, or it will make you at least, take the first step to think aloud on all that is described in this chapter. Can someone read this, please? 16.1 to 16.3.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion of honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men, endowed with divine nature. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So a lot of these qualities we saw in chapter 13, I think 14, right? We saw them in chapter 14. These are the qualities that will help one to acquire knowledge. Now, the Lord has further, elaborated some of those and added a few more. And if one is able to make a count of these qualities that has been spelt out in these 3 verses, you will notice that there are actually 26 of these qualities. So keep this in your mind. I want you to keep note of this in your mind. Okay, 26 qualities are divine qualities. Now, fearlessness means, yes, you need to our scriptures talk to us, or elaborate to us about the love for God. When you have love for God, why do you need to fear anything else? You don't have to, because your thing is all about that Supreme who you're always engaging in every action of yours. When every action of yours is for the satisfaction of the Supreme, obviously it is going to be perfect, or it is going to be of a character that will not have any kind of contamination, because you will be a nishkama karma. You will do whatever you're doing. You're doing it in a selfless manner. So that automatically leads to fearlessness. Purification of one's existence. It means that you are living your life by rules. You're following the rules of the land, whatever is the rules of the land. If you're living in India, you're going to follow the law of the land of this country. If you move to another country, then you will follow the rules of that land. And not only that is for the material level, but at a spiritual level, you're following the rules that are prescribed as per the varna and the ashrama, as per your prescribed duties, and as well as for the stage of your life. When you are in the brahmacharya, you're going to follow the rules and regulation of the brahmacharya. When you are in the grihastha ashram, follow the rules that are prescribed for the grihastha ashram. Okay, and depending on which category of employment you take, ensure that you're doing justice to that job and to the duties that are demanded of that job. So that's what it means, purification of one's existence.
Cultivation of spiritual knowledge, that has to be a marathon. I've already told you. It cannot be a one-off kind of a thing. It cannot be that today I will chant the Mahamantra. Today I will engage in some devotional service. No, it has to be a part of your system. It has to be a part of your regular habit, as regular as the process of getting up and going to bed. Okay. Then charity. Charity also cannot be, cannot have that selfish tinge to it. You saw during the COVID times, many people, used to post photographs of how much of charity they have done. That kind of a charity for the sake of show and pomp is not charity. Charity has to really be done in the real sense of helping the spread of Krishna consciousness, and also helping individuals who are engaged in godliness. When I say godliness, in doing good things, in doing things that will help the society to prosper, in doing things that will help the society towards enlightenment. Okay. Then self-control. That is a fundamental principle of our existence. If we have no self-control, then we are going to go berserk. Yeah. So self-control is very essential, and self-control will automatically happen to those who are high on devotional quotient. Performance of sacrifice. Performance of sacrifice means what? Renunciation or giving up activities that will draw you to negativity. Giving up things that will distract you. Giving up things that will actually take you away from the path of spirituality. That's what is meant by performance of performance of sacrifice. Don't ever think yajna means just doing something, just putting some things into the fire because it is a homa that you want to do as per a certain karma kanda process. No, it actually means giving up things that is going to take you away from the path of your consciousness. Study of the Vedas. The Vedas are important because they kind of help you to engage in activities that are spiritual and that which are God-loving. Austerity. Austerity means, keep having self-discipline. Self-discipline of the body, mind, and intellect is very, very important. You have to take care of things that will help you to stay, help you to stay in good health. You also need to do things that will also keep your mind steady, and keeping the mind steady and the body in good order and balance will also help you to enrich your intellectual capabilities. Non-violence. Don't unnecessarily get into things that are provocative. You don't provoke anything. But if there is a provocation, in that case, use your discrimination in such a way that you are taking a decision of which you shall not regret tomorrow, or that which will not put in more pain. However, if you have to take a call where, the provocation is something that is going to adversely affect, the society and also you as a person, then definitely you have to act accordingly, just as the way Lord Krishna is urging Arjuna to take action in this case. Simplicity. Live with, minimal. Your thing, your ideal should be that less is more. Please remember, we all are, we all need certain basic minimum things only, but we hoard things and build attachments to that. If you kind of believe in simple living, that simple living will help you to stay a detached life. But with the moment we make our life complicated and complex, that's what leads to a whole lot of desires. And truthfulness. Never ever stay away from speaking the truth. If you have to speak the truth, speak the truth. Truth is very important because that's what will take you far. Anything which is based on a false claim or anything which is based on falsity will only bring in more angst and more distress. Okay. Now, of course, a lawyer might ask, how is he? So he sometimes would know that this person is a murderer. So how should the lawyer, do his activity in such a case? This is often a question that we often get. So the lawyer also has to, take up, has to really use this discrimination and see what is it that he is defending against. If he is defending someone who has done a heinous crime, he must ask his conscience, should I really take up this case? Because a lawyer's job is to kind of protect all his clients. So at the beginning itself, the lawyer has to take a call. That's what I would think of people, because we have one of our devotees who is a lawyer. And now after having, being part of this process of association with Krishna consciousness, he said he stopped taking cases where he would have otherwise argued innocence for that person. So actually speaking, if all of us, by way of gaining knowledge of these scriptures, we will automatically know how to draw the line. Where is it that you not need to draw the line? If you have to kind of, help a person achieve something, by helping him in putting up things in a way that it is not false, but at the same time, it kind of helps a person to gain something which is going to be of a higher nature, that which will help the person to cross over, the miseries that he has in life, then I think there you need to use your judgment. But wherever you feel that by holding on to truth, you're actually not, wavering yourself by supporting a false statement, I think there you must stand up and stand for the truth. Okay, for example, when I said the previous word, for example, sometimes, when a person is going through, especially doctors, they kind of, reserve a lot of things that they would tell the patient and that they would tell the families of the patient. So probably if I'm suffering from something which is very grave, the doctor may typically would ask me, hey, who are your family members? Has anyone come with you? Can I meet them? I would like to speak to them. So there he might tell me, look, you're all right, but I want your family to support you. So please, just, be seated outside. Let me speak to your family members and then I will bring all of you together. So there, the doctor may not declare something to me on my face. He may want to kind of, bring in that information to me slowly, but he will tell the truth to my family, but he will not share it with me. So that's what I meant, using the right judgment as to saying things to someone at the right place and at the right time. Okay. So freedom from anger. Anger, all of you, I think we read it in detail. Anger only leads to delusion. Anger only leads to the fall of intellect. Renunciation. Renunciation is giving up things that are going to be negative. Giving up things that are going to take us away from the path of divinity, from the path of goodness. Tranquility, peace, be calm, because life is full of ups and downs. It's a seesaw. Today, if something is not going right, don't ever think it will not be right or it will not go right all the time. There will be good times as well. There are bad times, there are good times. There are good times, there are bad times. Okay, tranquility. Be calm in all kinds of situations. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but practice it. And when you kind of sometimes, get into the anger mode and you've already actually, left it unchecked, immediately when you do that, I've told you, do that self-inquiry. When you do that self-inquiry, you will immediately, recall that, and you will be able to set up corrective process to kind of ensure that it doesn't happen again. I'm not saying that all of us will be perfect on day one, but can we attempt at being perfect? Yes, definitely we can attempt being perfect. And that's what our scriptures are all about. Then aversion from fault finding. Always, we always want to point to other things, other forces for our own misery. I haven't studied well, and I will put the blame on the question paper. I will say the question paper was tough. What made me not study for it? What made me not prepare for it? So blaming fault, that's what is meant by aversion. Don't try to fault find outside. Fault finding is not the solution to any problem. Neither is fault finding in yourself also the problem. Find out the solution to ensure that you will excel in doing whatever you are doing. Compassion for all living entities. All living entities, we're all the same. It's only that because of our past karma, we are in certain positions or in certain places. Otherwise, There is no difference between any of us. When we leave this body is just matter. We are all the same. And even more so because the Lord himself has said that we are all his eternal part. So when we are all that eternal fragment of the Lord, who are we to unnecessarily say that someone is better than the other and I am better than someone else, or I am weaker than somebody else, or I am not as good as someone else? Why? Each one of us is unique. We all have our unique strengths. Let's kind of make use of those strengths. Let's not look at the weakness, and let's see how can we ensure that we kind of strengthen our strengths so that the weakness completely disappear. Freedom from covetousness. Covetous means that pride, that ahankaram, that thing which says, this is mine. This is mine today. But always remember, it will be someone else's tomorrow. I have a fine house. I have fine furniture. All this is today mine, but I don't know whose it's going to be tomorrow. See, walk on a street. You will see many houses in a dilapidated condition. Almost, there are no lights, nothing burning, locked, cobwebs everywhere. It was a house that belonged to somebody someday. But today it is nobody, because nobody wants it. Okay, so there's no guarantee that which is mine today is mine forever. It is going to go to someone else, or nobody may even want it. So the covetousness, let's give it gentleness. Be gentle to yourself as well. Learn to be gentle to yourself and to gentle to everyone else, because we don't know what the next second holds for us, and we also don't know what kind of bags everyone is carrying. Each one has their own situation to deal with. So let's be gentle, let's be kind. It's not sympathy. Don't confuse gentleness and empathy with sympathy. Empathy and gentleness is more about empathy. Understand everybody's situation, leave them, to kind of deal with their situation, or help them if you can, if they ask. Otherwise, just leave them, because we don't know their situation. So where was I? Gentleness, modesty. Modesty is very important. At all points in times, ensure that, you are not indulging any activities that will not only make you regret tomorrow, but also make sure that you are at all times, doing things which are well within the moral values and ethical values, whether it be business or a personal conduct. Steady, determined. That's very, very important. If at all we have to achieve anything in life, the determination to achieve should be there. And you must learn this quality of steady determination from all those people who are toppers, because there was some quality in them which made them a topper. See, in Bhagavatam, it says that we should always learn from people who are better than us. So these are the things that we should learn from people. We should not look at people who are better than us in wealth. Always look at people who are better than you in achieving things in the right way. All these competitive sports. Look at, study the qualities of all these people who have been those Grand Slam winners, all those chess champions. Now we have a lot of, people who brought in a lot of medals. Read about, what is it that made them out to be what they are. A P.V. Sindhu, or a Vishwanathan Anand, or this Pragyananda, young boy who's a whiz in chess now. Look at all those Grand Slam winners of tennis, like people like Roger Federer, like Rafa Nadal. Look at them. You will learn a lot from all of them. See, constantly we have to learn. Life is all about till the last breath of our life, till we kick the bucket. We must be learning. That is something our former president Abdul Kalam ji taught us. He was just, he was engaged in that passion of his. His passion was to teach, and he was engaged in that activity till his last breath. So these are the people from whom we have to learn what is determination, and we must copy. If we can't do it on our own, copy some of those things. Doesn't matter. See what all things you can learn from them and imbibe and make your life and your determination stronger. Vigor is very important. You have to keep your energy at all times. Energy is very important for you to carry out your activities in the best possible way, and to ensure your energies are high. Your body needs to be in balance. You need to ensure that all organs of your body are well maintained. It should be by way of the foods that you eat. It should be by way of exercises. Don't neglect any of these, because the next chapter we are going to read about what are the things that we must eat and what is good for our health and what is not. So therefore, energy, anything that lowers our energy, trust me, will have an impact on all other qualities that we have to, regularly, be part of, or, be all the other qualities that would manifest in us. Okay. Forgiveness. Yeah, mistakes do happen. Some mistakes are very grave, no doubt about it. The law of, we must allow the law of the land to take that. And wherever you feel the law of the land has not done its justice, we must go after seeking more justice. But whatever it is, at some point in time, we must learn to forgive as well. Because how long are you going to keep to that negativity? Forgiveness actually means letting go of a negative energy in you. Forgive. Start inculcating the habit of letting go of things which are of non-value, which is only kind of bringing in more of hatred and more of acridity in you, more of acidity in you. Anything which is unforgettable. There are instances that are going to be there in all our lives. I think we must try and see how much we can forget and how much we can learn to forgive, because that will help you to move forward. If we can't forget and we don't forgive, then it will not let us, because it will always be there as a baggage. So we need to try and see how we can lighten our baggage. So the lightening of the baggage is what will help us to kind of be more free. Fortitude. Just keep your strength at all. Don't ever give up that mental strength, which is important for us to forge ahead. Cleanliness. Yes, cleanliness of the body is important. At the same time, keep your mind clean. That will help your intellect to kind of get steady on a variety of other things like determination and practicing gentleness, practicing non-violence, practicing spirituality, practicing fearlessness, or being in the frame of fearlessness. So it's very important. Cleanliness of the mind is as equally important as the cleanliness of the body. Freedom from envy. What is the need for envy? Let's kind of mind our own business. When we mind our own business, we will not get into the zone of comparison. And when the zone of comparison is not there, envy will not be there. And freedom from passion for honor. Don't do things just because somebody will acknowledge you, or doing it for somebody's affirmation. Don't do things for others' sake. Do it for your sake. When you do it for your sake, for your own wellness, and for your own, for the sake of achieving your own goals, I don't think, you will really look at these things of honor. So these, the Lord says, are the transcendental qualities. They are truly transcendental. Try and see, build them into your character, build them into exhibiting your attitude. You will really see a difference for yourself. And I would think, since all of you are young people, I would like you all to, print a copy of these qualities and put it up on your desktop or in your study table, and keep looking at it every day. See, these things we will be able to only inculcate or practice only when we are constantly dwelling on them. If we don't, then we forget. So practice makes a person perfect. Similarly, only if we keep reading it will it actually help us to constantly contemplate. Otherwise, the contemplation will not happen. Okay, so let's not live a mundane life. Let's try and see how we can make our lives extraordinary. Now, 16.4, Dhambo Dharpa Abhimanascha Krodaha Parushyam Evacha Ajnanam Chabijatasya Partha Sampadam Asuram. Arrogance. Marker, we saw 26 qualities in the previous 3 verses. Now, these are what are the demonic qualities. What are they? Arrogance, pride, anger, conceit, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demonic nature. So friends, what did you see here? So what does it indicate? What does what is the comparison, or what is that you learned from the 26 qualities of the previous 3 verses and 6 qualities of this verse? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah.
The 26 qualities indicate like how with those qualities we can have godly attributes within oneself, and this 6 quality denotes the what are the cause of the downfall or the demonic qualities of a human being.
But did you also see there are 26 good qualities for us to look at? There are 26 varieties of nice, lovely ice creams. Why should we allow these 6 qualities to kind of take away the pleasure of those 26 different flavors of ice cream? Isn't this a deep question that we should ask ourselves? Arrogance. It'll never take you anywhere. Pride. Pride is the biggest, is the last step for your downfall. Anger. What will anger lead to? Look at that. Do we want to run amok like that elephant? No. We don't want to be like, just generally be like a bull in a china shop. What do you get? Conceit. Conceit is being very, very secretive, clandestine, doing activities, saying one thing, doing some, thinking, saying, and doing. All 3 different things. I think something, I say something else, but I ultimately end up doing something else. Harshness. What do you get by being harsh on yourself or harsh on others? If there is something which is not your cup of tea, just leave it, just go. Don't go after it. Ignorance. What is the need? When the world has so much to offer by way of education and knowledge, what is the need to be under the garb of ignorance and be completely stupid? You think people can't see when we are ignorant? You think people can't see when we lack knowledge? When we misbehave, do you think people are not talking about it? Of course. Just as much as we do. See, always we must think, what is it that I don't like about others? We should not do it to others. Period. So therefore, the number of demonic qualities are 6. Isn't it easy for us to overcome these 6 qualities? It is easy if you strengthen your other 26 qualities. Okay. So 16.5. So the Lord says, Daivi sampada vimokshaya nibandhya asuri mata ma suchaha sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava. The transcendental qualities are conducive. What is the benefit of the transcendental qualities? They are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu. You are born with divine qualities. So he's trying to, he's a great coach. He's a great teacher. He says, look, you have to fight this war. But please remember, you are a sinless one. So you don't have to worry. You have all the great qualities in you. You are not a demonic nature. You're not a person of a demon with a demonic nature. You are a person with divine nature. You are fighting this war. You are taking up this because you need to provide justice, and you need to ensure that righteousness, prevails, and you're not going to allow adharma to grow, right? So the transcendental qualities or the good qualities help you to become light and progress in life, whereas the demonic qualities bring in negative energy, and negative energy leads to downfall. 16.6. Can someone read 16.6? Hare Krishna.
O son of Radha, in this world there are 2 kinds of created beings. One is called the divine, other demonic. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demonic.
Yeah. So let's read the next one. 16.7. The Lord says, Pravirtam cha nivirtam cha janana vidur asuraha na saucham napi chacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. Those who are demonic do not know what is to be done, what is not to be done, neither cleanliness, nor proper behavior, nor truth is found. Obviously, because you carry so much of hubris. Hubris means so much of weight that you do not really know. You can't discriminate. Your intellect is completely deluded. We have already we read that in the previous chapters. Intellect gets deluded when you have anger, when you have envy, when you have pride. Your intellect is absolutely goes defunct. So if your intellect and your discriminatory abilities has to be really functional, we must ensure that we're not allowing these demonic qualities to get the better of us. So these people, therefore, they are absolutely, they behave, they're animals, they're equal to, they are animals in a human body. And I'm sure you can look at a whole lot of examples from our own country, with very many instances that happened around the place with respect to whether it be thefts or, whether it be, atrocities on people, atrocities on young children, atrocities committed, by people, on women, or atrocities committed by men on other men. There are so many examples. I'm not going to dwell on that, but anyway, you can relate a lot of all those things with this. Go back and pick up those instances where there would have been an atrocity and link it up to all these things that we're studying in this chapter. You will get your answer. 16.8. They say this world is unreal. Who? The demonic people. The demonic people say that this world is unreal, that there is no foundation, that there is no God in control. It is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. So these people, their entire locus standi, or their entire notion of creation, their entire notion of existence is all about sex. And they say that everything happens because of our sexual urges and sexual desires. The population explosion happens because of our sexual desires. Truly, yes, but it doesn't mean that God asked you to go and explode the population. You are doing it because of your own desire. Don't put the blame. Don't say there's no God. These are atheists. And they feel proud. You should see the way atheists speak. I don't think people who believe, who are religious, we speak so proudly as much as they speak. Why is it that people believing, people who are God-loving do not speak like them? Because we know how to be humble. We know what is pridelessness. We know what it means to be gentle. So such people will never make noise. It's only the empty brains that will make the noise. That's always the proverb is something we learned even when we were in school. So empty brains are the ones who will make such noise. And don't get worried about these empty brains. Ultimately, truth will always prevail. 16.9. Following such conclusions, the demonic, who are lost to themselves, who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Because of delusion, because they have no, their mind is completely contaminated, no intellect, ultimately what they do? They not only bring misery upon themselves, they also create misery upon others as well, just as the way the Kauravas have done. And there are many Kauravas today in our own lives that we are seeing. So the demonic taking shelter of insatiable lust, pride and false prestige, and being thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. So things like illicit relationships, multiple partners, infidelity, gambling, any form of gambling. Gambling need not be only that which you see in casinos. Gambling can also be in other forms as well. There are varieties of gamblings that are happening in our lives. Then intoxication, going in for those momentary pleasures. Even those illicit relations are all momentary pleasures. At the end of the day, this body has no meaning to it. This body is going to ultimately age, and it's prone to diseases. Nobody will look at us when we age. Nobody will look at us when we have a disease. Does anyone come near us when we say we have COVID? They don't even give you a glass of water. They keep it outside the door and they go away. So let's all remember this. See, a lot of things that happen are lessons from which we have to learn. But unfortunately, once COVID went away, we've all forgotten, the miseries that we went through during COVID. Right? So history is never meant to be forgotten. History is very, very precious. We must always kind of remember history, and we must learn from history, because if we forget history, history will be forgotten. This is what the Chinese say. I don't like the Chinese for very many reasons, but there are a lot of proverbs of Chinese which are very good. They say if you forget history, you're forgotten. You're bound to make those mistakes again. Meat eating. What do you get by killing another living entity for your own gain? If you don't know how to maintain your body by not killing, What kind of use are you putting your body to? So what do these people do? They believe that to gratify their senses unto the end of life is a primary necessity of human civilization. They only bother about themselves. They are not bothered about human civilization. They think it is their joy and their pleasure which matters at the end of the day. Thus, there is no end to their anxiety. Being bound by hundreds and thousands of desires, by lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. Why are people gaining? Why do people see how many flows do we need? We just need, as we grow older, especially, you will realize these days, very people, in their midlife, people like me, we've all started thinking, how much of space do we need to live? I'm planning for my next phase in life. Actually speaking, you don't need much. All that you need is a study table. If you're able to sit well and read a book and stuff like that, you need a small bed, because you even to get up and walk up to a study table is going to be difficult as we age. So what are we doing? We must therefore try not to make life complex. Live a simple life, then you will not really, feel bad as your life, as you become older, and when you need to adapt to simplicity, it will not be a big issue for you. You will kind of engage in your aging process with great love and with great you will look forward to it. You're not going to say, oh my God, I was 25 and now I'm 26. You're going to be worried about it. It's okay. You're going to be proud of the process of maturity. You're going to be proud of the process of getting years to yourself. Okay. Now 16.13 and 4:15. Can someone read this slide? Hare Krishna.
The demonic person thinks so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemy will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifice. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So look at that. I'm sure this verse, kind of helps you to relate to a lot of things around us. People like politicians, the new age politicians. All that they want is just to kind of build wealth for themselves and their families and their loved ones. They want to ensure that kind of they help each other in such a way that they remain in a powerful position as they can be. That is one example. Another example is of the real estate. The real estate industry is full of such people who are out there to kind of loot the hard-earned money of gullible, fixed income people who live their life by their monthly salaries and stuff like that. They just cheat people. Cheating has become the way of life now. Now, this is definitely and certainly the demonic nature that we are seeing in play. And they not only, they go after people who are impediments to them because they consider them as their enemies. They feel their being there disables them or does not help them to progress with their urges. So they kind of eliminate people. If you don't like somebody, go shoot them. We don't want them. So they only believe in themselves and they only think that they need to have everything, and they kind of, have complete, their urges there's no end to their urges. Okay. And whenever they do some charity, they think, okay, fine. Okay. The 100 logon ko bula lenge. They'll ask them to stand in a queue, give them some grains and some stuff, and they think they've done punya. Never ever think that just doing something like that, once in a while is devotion. No, that's not devotion. It's a mockery of devotion. It's mockery of that service to the God consciousness who's there within each one of us. 16.16, thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusion, one becomes too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and falls down into hell. I think hell is very mild. These people, they absolutely, they kind of, if there is something even below hell, they need to go there. 16.18, bewildered by false ego. Ahankaram, strength, pride, lust, anger. The demon becomes envious of the Supreme Personality of God, who is situated in his own body and in the bodies of others, and blasphemies against the real religion. Such people, they think, power, they get so, they kind of start drinking power that they don't even care that there is something even more powerful and something even more supreme than everything than this material, than the material spectrum of things that is around us. Okay. 16.19, those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among the men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. So that's why I always say that never worry about someone who is indulging in practices which are anti-religion, which are anti-dharma, which are anti-living entities. Please remember, this is not one life. Our dharma is Sanatana Dharma. These people will definitely meet their ends, and they will definitely kind of meet a result that they would meet because of all these things that they do. We don't have to worry about why is it, good things happen to bad people. Sorry, good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. Never ever think this is only one life. There is life. There are many, many, many lives ahead. So let's worry about how is it that we can do things. We can bring in or build goodness in ourselves, and by doing that, let's see how many more people we can help out. Let's not bother about others. And let me tell you, goodness is actually infectious. When you are able to spread that goodness, you help a lot more people to spread that goodness, imbibe that goodness and spread that goodness forward. So it is because of goodness in society that there is actually life. There is actually activity happening on this material planet. We need to be thankful to a lot of those people with those divine qualities who are helping us to live life. Otherwise, in this material realm of things, with so much happening, which is actually absolutely very, very discouraging, which is very, very very, very disheartening. If there are still things that are happening which are nice, we must be thankful and we must be grateful to a lot of people with those divine qualities who are helping us and showing us the way to also follow that path. 16.20, attaining repeated birth. Who are this? This is for the demonic people. What happens to them? They attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demonic life. Such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So don't worry about people who are bad. Let's worry about ourselves. Let's kind of make sure that we are able to kind of transcend the modes of nature and reach our supreme goal, which is Paramatma, which is the supreme abode of the Lord. 16.21, Trividham Narakshedam Dwaram Nashanam Atmanaha Kamaha Krodhas Tata Lobhas Tasmadeta Trayam Tyajet. There are 3 gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. We also saw this in chapter 2. Okay, lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. Okay. We want to keep our soul clean. So we don't want lust, anger, and greed anywhere around us. 16.22, the man who has escaped, this is, he's explaining from this verse onwards to 24. He's saying, how is it that we can overcome lust, greed, and anger? The man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. Now, it is not easy, friends. We have to do that introspection. And that introspection, self-inquiry has to happen on a regular basis. That's why I keep telling you, at the end of every day, take 5 minutes and run over the activities of that day and see what is it that you could have done better. See what is it, where is it that you kind of didn't do well? Where is it that you kind of upset a system or upset certain things or certain people that you shouldn't have? And what is it that you should have done, or what is it that you should do to take care of that? And also think of who are the people who have actually, not been nice to you? Who are the people who are trying to inflict injury on you? So on Also, it will help you to kind of think of measures that you need to put in place so that you can stay away from those negative energies, or take charge of yourself so that you can face those negative energies with determination. So both things. So don't allow others to bully you. Don't let others to take advantage of you. That is a no. In fact, when I used to do classes for young children, I used to do classes for children, Bhagavad Gita for the age of 6 to 15. I used to tell these children, be careful, take care of yourselves. Never go out, venture out into places which are unknown to you. Never allow anybody to kind of guide you, or unknown people to come and take charge of you. Never go out of the school with anyone who comes and tells you, oh, your mother is standing there, she's calling me, come with me. Never accept food from people who you don't know. Take care of yourselves. And see, who are the people, if they are kind of not behaving well with you, if they're touching you inappropriately, come and tell your parents, or tell your teacher, or tell somebody who you trust. So therefore, I say this to all of us even now. It's not only to the children, it applies to us as well. So let's be careful of the kind of people that we have around us. So, even as adults, it's all the more reason, that we must take care of ourselves, and we must ensure that we're not letting such people to take advantage of us in any given situation. Nobody has a right to kind of, impose anything on us. No one has a right to oppress us. No one has a right to subject us to any kind of misery. Okay? Make sense? Hare Krishna?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. So we have to take care of ourselves. Okay, 16.23. Yah shastra vidim utsrijya vartate kamakaratah nasa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na paramam gatim. He says, but he who discards the scriptural injunctions. The scriptures are, see how beautifully we have evolved over these chapters. But if one discards these scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims, and attains neither perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. See, there's so much of knowledge that is there. It is there for all ages. It is not only for, for people, for growing up people, for the old people, and as well as to the young people. The very young people as well. Even for children of 6 years, I can't tell you, I used to enjoy doing my classes with those 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds. You should see the way they would imbibe, and it seems they would tell their mothers, oh, wake me up at 6 o'clock, I want to tell the japa. They were so beautiful. So it is, our scriptures actually, they are so endearing. Anyone, with an open mind will definitely find a lot of things that they would want to carry with them. And I would also equally say this is also equally good for elderly people as well, because if they have not done certain things well in their younger life, they still have an window of opportunity to make those corrections, right? Okay, 16.24. Tasmak chastram pramanam te karya vyavasthithau nyatva shastra vidhanoktam karma kartum iharhasi. One should understand what is duty, what is not duty by regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Yeah? Any questions so far? Anybody? Or any thoughts? So that was the last verse. So what are the lessons? Divine qualities are elevating. But why are they elevating? Because they make you feel lighter. And demonics are debilitating. They lower you. They completely draw you to the gutter. They're so bad that you can never, once you kind of draw yourself lower and lower, trying, even if somebody tries to give you a rope to pull up, you can't. Because you would have got so used to those, those dirty desires of yours that you just don't find yourself able to kind of look at anything beyond the dirt that you're in. Positivity is a way of life, and it only comes through practice. It is a marathon. Positivity is not a one-off kind of a thing. Okay, positivity is a way of life, and it can only happen through practice. You cannot think, okay, today I'm going to be positive. No, it doesn't happen. It's not an overnight journey. Okay, it is to be constantly something that you have to meditate upon, and that kind of a meditation can only be done when you're doing a constant. You're taking constant stock of things that you do. We take stock of our bank balances and our assets. Similarly, we must take a constant stock of our behavior and also our thoughts. Negativity is crippling and disengaging. Negativity leads you nowhere. It not only brings harm to you, but it also brings in harm, or it also brings in a lot of disengagement and also a lot of strain in every form of association, because you're not looking at things the way it should be looked, because you look at things in your own with your own lenses. So you throw your thoughts on others. You think you're bad, you think the other person is. See, every demonic person knows he or she is bad or good. It's not that they don't know what they're doing. They very much know. They'll never have a good sleep, so don't worry about them. So therefore, let's avoid the negative tendencies and the negative energies at all times. So learn to live a simple life, but have high thoughts, because it's high thoughts which will elevate us, which will be enlightening, which will be kind of, helping you to kind of, go for the higher taste. That is higher taste. Not living in, large complexes and having, the latest models of cars and phones and things like that. Simple life is all about having things that are necessary to do your basic activities, but you're constantly engaging your mind in advancing, not only in the material world of making sure that you're doing the best in your respective activity, in your respective profession, but also spiritually, enhancing that ability which is already there in us, but opening it up so that you ultimately you kind of are able to gain that self-realization, by which you become more more heightened in your own consciousness. Okay, so these are the lessons of this chapter, or rather this is rather a summary of all that we have been studying in the last 16 chapters. Okay, so the next chapter we're going to look at the various divisions of faith. So in that we're going to look at what are the foods that people take to in the different modes. Then what are the kind of activities that they engage in. Then what are the kind of charities they do. How do they kind of engage in austerities or discipline, the self-discipline that they bring upon themselves. So these are the things that we're going to see in the 16th chapter tomorrow. So Hare Krishna. Any questions, anybody?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I want to ask something. Like last few classes back, you were telling about Prabhuji will be visiting Puri on October, I guess, and 11th, right?
No, this will be in Puri. Yeah, they're doing a Puri Jagannath Yatra.
Yeah, what is the date exactly?
It is October 9th, 10th, and 11th.
A Sunday is there, right? If it is
Sunday is
there,
Sunday
and I can definitely visit on Sunday.
Yeah. So what you can do is, who's the admin for your group, Prabhuji?
I don't remember exactly.
I'll do one thing. I will share, with you the number of the numbers of a few people who are going for the yatra. I'll know by day after tomorrow, and you can be in touch with them and make sure that you get to meet the president, Namanishta Das Prabhuji, who is the temple head of ISKCON Mangaluru. Okay, and I'll also put in a word to him.
Thank you, Mataji.
And I'll give you his number also and his email ID. Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna. No questions?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, is bread also not allowed because that yeast is alive in bread? I mean, I don't know, when they make bread, they put yeast in water and then it grows, and then so that's why it's also a life.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
actually being cooking yeast, versus other like involuntarily eating other microbes. This is actually like cooking the yeast.
Yeah. Oh, you're using wonderful words, microbes. What do you do, Mataji? You're a NND person, nutrition dietitian?
Yeah, I'm a pediatrician.
Ah, wow. Okay. Wonderful. So I don't know about yeast in specific, but what I know, Mataji, since you're a doctor, you would know. I remember when my father was diagnosed, for some heart condition, he was actually advised by the cardiologist in Mumbai that he should avoid yeast. So yeast anyway is not good for health, is my own understanding. So I don't know about if yeast in food, how it will be, and that part I don't know, Mataji. I'm not very sure, so I don't want to comment on that. But I do know my father, when he had a heart condition that was not identified, the doctor asked him to stay away from a lot of food, and one of them was bread. And the reason why he said bread was both. One is, he said, the maida that goes into the bread, the white flour, which he said is not good. And the second one he said was yeast. And I was too young at that time, so I don't recall asking him beyond these questions. But I remember him saying flour and yeast.
Oh, okay. Because sometimes like they use yeast to restore the normal flora in the gut, but that time it stays alive in the gut. But here, like, so then it's in Vaishnava Sadachar, we should not eat bread.
Oh, okay. I don't know, Mataji. I can check and get back to you, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Sorry about this.
Hey, no problem. And I'll find out. Because what I don't know, I have to admit, right? I can't, I shouldn't be giving you a wrong information. So I will check on this and let you know, Mataji. Okay?
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, everyone.
Hare
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. See you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.